Have you ever thought about how a handful of colonies transformed into one of the most powerful nations on the planet? It's a wild ride, filled with excitement, pain, and inspiration. Buckle up as we explore the fascinating history of the United States of America, from the rich cultures of native tribes to its rise as a global powerhouse. Before the Europeans, Native America. Long before Columbus set sail, the land we now call the U.S. was alive with the vibrant cultures of millions of Native Americans. Picture this: tribes like the Iroquois, Sioux, Apache, Cherokee, and Navajo, each with their own unique languages, customs, and traditions. They lived in tune with nature, cultivating crops and establishing extensive trade networks that connected communities across vast distances. Isn't it incredible to think about the deep-rooted history and diverse lifestyles that thrived here long before European contact? These tribes had rich spiritual beliefs and complex social structures, showcasing a world that was both beautiful and intricate. European colonization. Fast forward to 1492, when Christopher Columbus arrived in the Americas, sparking a wave of European exploration and colonization. Soon, Spanish, British, and French explorers were making their mark. The British set up 13 colonies along the East Coast, and let me tell you, life was no picnic for the colonists. They faced brutal weather, disease, and conflicts with Native Americans. Yet, despite these challenges, the colonies began to flourish, growing in both population and wealth, becoming essential to Britain's economy. But here's the kicker: as the colonies thrived, so did the resentment. High taxes and a complete lack of representation in the British Parliament led to mounting frustration. People were like, "Hey, we're working hard here. Why aren't we having a say?" You can imagine the tension building up. The American Revolution in 1775. The spark ignited into flames, and war broke out between the colonies and Britain. The Declaration of Independence, penned by Thomas Jefferson in 1776, was a bold statement declaring the colonies free from British rule. It's such a powerful document, don't you think? With support from France, the American forces, led by the indomitable George Washington, fought valiantly and ultimately defeated the British. The Treaty of Paris in 1783 marked the birth of the United States of America. Just imagine the sense of pride and hope that filled the air as people realized they were part of something new and extraordinary. Asterisk, asterisk, building a new nation. Asterisk, asterisk, in 1789, the U.S. Constitution was adopted, establishing a government with 3 branches: executive, legislative, and judicial. George Washington, stepping into the role of the first president, set a tone of leadership that would shape the nation. Expansion was on everyone's mind, and the Louisiana Purchase in 1803 doubled the country's size overnight. Can you believe that? Explorers Lewis and Clark ventured into these new lands, mapping out the vast territories while settlers moved westward, often displacing native tribes along the way. It's a bittersweet chapter, highlighting both ambition and loss. Slavery and Civil War. As the U.S. grew, a deep divide emerged between the North and the South. The North was industrial and generally anti-slavery, while the South relied heavily on agriculture and supported slavery. By 1861, 11 Southern states had seceded, forming the Confederacy, which led to the Civil War. President Abraham Lincoln, a towering figure in this era, led the North through this tumultuous time. For grueling years filled with bloodshed, the Union emerged victorious in 1865, and the 13th Amendment abolished slavery. It's a powerful reminder of the struggle for human rights and the cost of freedom. Reconstruction and Industrial Revolution. After the war, the U.S. faced the daunting task of rebuilding. Former slaves encountered violence and discrimination, even as they celebrated their newfound freedoms. Meanwhile, the nation was stepping into the industrial age, and it was nothing short of transformative. Railroads sprang up, connecting cities and facilitating trade, while factories boomed, drawing millions of immigrants seeking better lives. Major cities like New York, Chicago, and San Francisco blossomed. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Working conditions were often harsh, and child labor was rampant. It's a stark contrast to the progress being made, showing the complexities of this era. World power emerges. By the early 1900s, the U.S. was solidifying its status as a global power. Participation in World War I helped tilt the scales against Germany, showcasing America's military might. The 1920s were a time of prosperity. But then came the Great Depression in 1929, plunging the nation into economic despair. Fast forward to World War II, when the U.S. joined the Allies after the shocking attack on Pearl Harbor. Under President Franklin D. Roosevelt, America became the arsenal of democracy, supplying the world with the tools needed to fight tyranny. The war concluded with the dropping of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, marking a pivotal moment in history. Suddenly, the U.S. and the Soviet Union emerged as superpowers, setting the stage for the next chapter. The Cold War era. The Cold War was a fascinating and tense time, with the U.S. and the Soviet Union locked in a battle of ideologies, arms, and space exploration. The U.S. joined NATO and found itself embroiled in proxy wars in Korea and Vietnam. Back home, the civil rights movement, led by inspiring figures like Martin Luther King Jr., sought to dismantle racial inequality. The push for women's rights, the thrill of the moon landing in 1969, and groundbreaking technological innovations defined this era. It's amazing to see how far society has come, yet the struggle for equality and justice continues. Modern America after the fall of the Soviet Union. The U.S. stood tall as the sole superpower. Military actions in the Middle East followed, especially after the tragic 9/11 attacks in 2001, which reshaped national security and global relations. The 21st century has brought its own set of challenges: economic downturns, climate change, social justice movements, and significant political divisions. Yet, through it all, the U.S. continues to wield influence in technology, culture, science, and innovation. A nation still evolving. Today, the United States is a tapestry of diversity, ambition, and contradictions. From its founding ideals of freedom and equality to the ongoing struggles and triumphs, America's story is far from finished. Whether it's exploring Mars or addressing deep-rooted injustices, the U.S. remains a dynamic force, constantly evolving and striving for a better tomorrow. If you found this journey through history as fascinating as I did, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and drop a comment sharing your favorite moment in U.S. history. Let's keep the conversation going.